All right, guys, welcome back. So, me and DeLancey were talking, and we've been wanting to do this for a while. It just gets crazy with having people on and then thinking of other topics that we want to talk about. But we both want to kind of like update with our own stories because we haven't done that since the very beginning of our podcast, like when we introduced ourselves. So, we're going to take turns, and today is going to be DeLancey's turn. I want to share mine too, but if you know, I kind of want to go to Columbia first, but I'm excited to hear from DeLancey today. So we'll have her give an update on because things are forever changing. I feel like with your journey,
Yeah.
it's like life anyway. Doesn't matter adoption or not, your life's always changing. So, DeLancey, the floor is yours.
That's like so much pressure too. Like, you know what I mean? But I like how you said things are ever changing because I mean, things are ever changing. Like, that's just the way things go. As I like almost launched my microphone off the table. That was great. Okay, so let's see. Life update, journey update, things like that. What's interesting is over this, really, I would say, I don't want to say just this year-long process, but like since I met bios and biologicals and things like that. And that was right around 6 years ago. And it's funny because I was talking to my parents this weekend and my mom was like, has it been that long? And I was like, yeah, I think so. And she was like, huh. She goes, I just never thought about the time frame, which I hadn't either. But I think my most important update is that I have made the decision for both sides. I kind of broached on this a little bit on the biological dad side, and since now everything's come full circle, I've made the decision to kind of step away. To I think it's in the best interest of, from where I'm standing at least, uh, for everyone involved just to take a step back and to give some time. I think that I've learned a lot about myself. I know that it's interesting because, just to veer off this for a second, it's interesting because of the last, we're coming up on this Easter Sunday will be my third Easter serving at my church. That was when I really made the commitment um, in my heart and everything again, and to just to do everything that I could to live a life as God wants us to live. Not perfect. I will never say I'm perfect. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. I don't think anything like that. I just know that for my life, when I made the decision, it just passed the 3 anniversary for that of not 3 anniversary, 2 anniversary of that, to decide to move home, to be specifically in the church that I'm in, be with my family, to because that's where I could feel God was pulling me, that he was like, okay, listen, I'm not delusional to think that he verbally said this to me at all, because I almost feel like that's a little much, but it's almost like in my heart, I could feel a piece of it's like, okay, listen, you you've done enough. You've been through enough. Like, you deserve happiness now. Like, you need to let yourself be happy. Get out of your own way, and I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
In order for me to help you, you need to come home and you need to move back. And not I haven't I've shared that with a few people. I haven't really shared it very widespread, just because I know how some people view things. And it, to me, that's something that's so personal. But in making that move, in making that decision to step away from a lot of things that were getting in my way of happiness, of joy, of my relationship with God, of my having a better relationship with my family, because really I was letting things get in the way. I was letting things get in my way, and I just was not happy. I was dealing with depression. I was on antidepressants. I was just not in a good place. And none of that had anything to do with, despite what anyone likes to say, it wasn't because I'm adopted. It wasn't, because of anything outside of my own choices. I had made choices that just spiraled out of control. And it wasn't anything bad. It wasn't, well, relatively speaking. It wasn't, I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't, I
No.
wasn't off on a corner,
Right.
like shooting up
Right.
heroin or
Right.
something like that. Like
Right.
I wasn't, I was working, I was getting up, I was going to work, I was doing my job, I was doing, the things that I needed to do. But I really feel like with 2020 was where it all started for me, where I started to see things very clearly, but I didn't know what to do with it and I didn't know how to handle it. And that was when I really feel like it being set in motion of me losing my job, or not losing my job, but being laid off from my job in December of 2020, that really put it in motion of me being able to take steps forward and move my life forward. Now, keep in mind, I have already met biological mom and younger siblings at this point. It's already been a few years for that. Um, I started to build relationships, and start to uh, move forward, getting to know, share things about myself, share things about, trying to figure out the placement in life for everybody. And on March 7th, 2021 was when that realization from God was like, you are my daughter, you need to come home. Like, you've got to get out of your own way. You can be happy. It's going to take a lot of work, but I'm going to be with you. And that was when I told my parents and my sister and my brother-in-law, and all four of them helped me to get back home. They helped me figure it out. They helped me, my brother-in-law helped me with my resume, because I had written resumes before, but not something to the level of that I needed
Gotcha.
to get a job that I needed. Like, it was done messing around, and like and not saying the jobs I had were not good jobs. They were great jobs. I was great at them.
Right.
But it was time to get out of my way. In that process, in this long, roundabout, long winded way of me accepting, I am. I am a child of God and I need to live my life that way. I had to start moving away from relationships that I'd had for years, that I'd had for over a decade, 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
And I had to move away from those,
Yeah.
not because they're bad people,
Right.
but because they were bad for me. And maybe I was bad for them. That's also another possibility. I may not be good for certain people, just like certain people may not be good for me. This is not me saying that I'm holier than thou or I'm better than somebody else. I have never once in my life ever thought that I was better than somebody else, because I've always thought I was the problem. That's just always been the way my brain works. I've never thought that I never thought that I had a higher status than somebody else, because I always looked at somebody, I was like, wow, they have it more together than I do. I can fake it really well. Or I used to. I guess I still can, but like I have more confidence in myself now, just because like I've worked hard to get to where I am.
Good. Yeah.
That being said, I've never said I'm the smartest person in the room, because no. Yeah, but it's no, just because like, say you have a higher IQ level than somebody, that doesn't mean you're smarter than somebody else.
Correct.
That just means you have a better cognizant understanding of what you're reading.
Yes.
That doesn't
Exactly.
mean that you have more empathy. That doesn't mean you have more accountability. That doesn't mean you have more drive. That doesn't mean you have more understanding, more compassion. None of that. Like, all of that
Right.
comes into play. And after that, I think, especially probably over the last like year and a half, 2 years, with different things that I have experienced, I think I've realized that there are people, and this isn't directed towards anyone in particular, but if you take it to heart, then I hope you take it to heart and realize that what I'm about to say is not said in malice. But there are people out there who would rather put more energy in saying why everyone else is wrong and remaining at a plateau than wanting to continue to learn and develop.
You're speaking
The
truth.
hardest thing in life is looking at people and realizing that they may be in that place and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But you don't want to stay there because you want to keep developing and growing and learning and moving forward. And it's not your responsibility to fix others,
Oh,
just like it's
amen.
not their responsibility to fix you.
Amen.
I mean, you and I have talked about that multiple times. We've both put in a lot of work to be different than who we were the day before. You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like,
Agreed. Mm-hmm.
So I think
That's not easy.
it's not easy, and
And that's
it's
why
not easy, and it's not
people don't want to do it.
knocking anybody. Yeah, and it's not
And
knocking people. Sometimes people just can't.
it's like you're saying, you're not knocking anybody. It's hard, and it's to make that decision to want better for yourself and to level up, like you're saying. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's hard as hell. It's a fight every single day to stay there
Mhm.
because you still have those demons that creep into your own mind. But it's like you
100%.
said, once you do start seeing a little bit of that, and then like you said, you see people that don't want to reach that, it's sad. It's
Yeah.
hard because what's on the other end and how it really
Mhm.
benefit people. But it's like they've got to be in that place. They've got to, like you
Yeah.
said, you can't force anyone and they can't force you. So
And that's the biggest thing. It's like you said, they have to be in that place. And what usually breaks my heart with people is, and I'm sure I broke some people's hearts by being in the same space of them not even seeing that that's what they're doing.
yeah. No,
You
that
know what I
makes
mean?
total
Like,
sense.
and I think that sometimes people are meant to be in your life for a season. I have really accepted that more and more as time has gone on.
Yeah.
I just, at the end of the day, I think that, and again, this isn't saying anything negative or anything bad. I mean, people are people. And sometimes people are not meant to remain in each other's lives.
Right.
Things happen for a reason. And just like Greg said in his story, sometimes you have to go and you deserve to know.
Yeah.
I mean, in reality of the situation, some people are not going to like what I'm about to say at all. What I'm about to say right now, no, there are going to be some people out there that are going to think that I'm not a nice person, and that's fine. You can think that. But at the end of the day, I would have been just fine for the rest of my life, never knowing.
And that's okay. That's 100% okay. People need to know
See,
that.
well, and that's the people need to know that it's okay to feel that way.
Yes.
And now on the flip, I am thankful I did.
Yeah.
Because even though I would have been fine not knowing, it's still cool to know.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, it's kind of like, even though I'm trying to think of how to say this, when your brain just like veers, like, I don't know, like they do every podcast episode that we have. I think, people like to say that the way that we're raised is usually the way that we are. You know what I mean? Like that's the way that we are. I think that if people could take a glimpse in my life and realize that I didn't always follow exactly what I was told, shocker, real shocker there for anyone that's listening and actually knows me in real life and has known me for a while, they would be like, we know, we're aware. We went to college with you, or we knew you in your early 20s or whatever. Like I've always been that person that marched to the beat of my own drummer. But at the end of the day, I think that core values are core values. And when they are so incredibly polar opposite from other people, there's only so long that can happen. Like that can happen. Wow, I just left out like a whole sentence in there. Like, can happen. Take a guess what I meant. No, it's I feel like there's only so long that you can maintain relationships like that when you're like polar opposites with your core values before some kind of turmoil happens.
Yeah.
And I don't mean turmoil like it's a big blow up. It may not be a
Right.
big blow up. Somebody
Right.
may get their feelings hurt or something like that.
Right.
And it just gets to a point where everyone has their core values, everyone has their deal breakers. For me, core values involve compassion, empathy, um, serving others, being, humility, um, being kind.
Yeah.
I don't like to make fun of people in a malicious way for comedy. I've never liked doing that. Like, everyone picks on everybody like a little bit as like a joke, but I think there's a certain degree of just basic respect for other human beings
Mm.
that should happen. Um, and I think that with certain individuals that I am biologically related to, unfortunately, some of those core values were not met equally.
Mhm.
Um, in which that's all right. I
Yeah.
mean, not everybody has the same core values. Not everybody sees things the same way. Some people, you know, are more conservative. Some people are more liberal. Some people are more religious. Some people don't believe in God at all.
Right.
It's, that's what makes the world a beautiful place is that we
Mhm.
are all different human beings. And that's what brings it all together. My thing is that I say it often. I am closer to 40 than not, and I will not continue to bend for
Good.
others
Good.
when it's not met
Yeah.
because I just feel like that's not healthy. It's not healthy to be like that. It's not
Mm-mm.
healthy to, and it's not healthy for my relationship with God
Yeah.
at all. For me
Right.
to feel as though
Agreed.
I'm compromising my relationship with Him by allowing, I guess, just by not even not allowing, because it's not up to me to allow things, by standing by, not directly participating, but indirectly participating by not
That makes sense.
saying anything. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
That totally makes sense.
Um, Now, all of that being said, it has been a very interesting journey to get to this place. I have tried to, you and I have talked about this, off the podcast
Mhm.
multiple times, um, as to whether or not I was going to be able to share this, how I would share this, what I would say, when I would say it, what we would do. And, anyone that's listening, if you do not have a Milena in your life that you can go to about, yeah, I'm probably going to cry when I say this. Um, that you could go to about really just things. I have my mom and dad, and I have my sister, and I have people in church and stuff, I have my tribe, absolutely. But to have somebody that can understand where I'm coming from on a different level. Um, we don't have the same adoption journey. You can't have the same adoption journey. All of them are different.
Right.
But to have somebody to be able to talk to that understands adoptee to adoptee where I'm coming from, because I want to say you and I have talked about this multiple times,
Yeah. Quite a few times.
at minimum over the last few months.
Yeah.
And I mean, if not even over the last year, because it originally started with I had separated myself originally from my biological dad's family. And,
Yeah.
and then now with my biological mom's side, I always want to remain respectful of people,
And you have.
especially them. And I hope I mean,
You have.
I try.
You have.
Well, I thank you for saying that because
You have.
sometimes I wonder, but I think it's important for people to also realize that even though you try to be respectful of others, that may not always be reciprocated. And that's okay too, because that
Yeah.
doesn't say anything about you.
Right.
That says it about them.
Yeah.
If there are people out there that will go out of their way in their life to be flat out disrespectful to you and to people that you care about because they think it's funny or they think it's okay to speak like that, those are not, this is your sign that those people do not need to be in your life.
Agreed.
There's no need for that. This world has enough going on in it. We just need people around us that will build us up and support us and hold us accountable and move us forward and love us how we want to be loved without trying to control us,
Right.
if that makes sense.
No, it does.
My love language is quality of time.
Yeah.
And followed, anyone that knows me is not shocked by acts of service. That's just, and that's how, like, I'm not a huge fan of gifts.
Yeah.
Gifts are cool, don't get me wrong, like, it's fine.
Right.
I'll say thank you and I love them. Like, they're cool. I'll never be upset about them because, who doesn't like a present?
Right. Right.
But when you give me your time, that means more to me. Kind of like how Melena will give me her time, just like I'll give her my time.
Yeah.
Randomly throughout the day, or if we need to talk through something, or if we just need to chat, or even after we're done recording. And which always just makes me giggle because we'll hit end record and we'll just keep talking. Like, y'all don't even know. Like, y'all miss the good stuff after we hit end record.
It's true.
But it's okay when your reality meets your fantasy that you didn't even realize that you had, and you move forward from it.
That's powerful.
There's nothing. There's sometimes it is what it is, and they crash into each other. Miley Cyrus wrote a whole song about it. You came in, what was it, Wrecking Ball? You crashed into me like a wrecking ball or something like that. Yeah. It's I know, again, some people may not agree with this, and whatever. It is what it is. Everything that God does in our lives is perfectly planned.
I agree.
That doesn't mean that he's like, oh, DeLancey will wake up at 6:30 in the morning. DeLancey will get out of bed at 6:35. That's not how that works. Everything is perfectly planned because he already knows what's going to happen. And he already knows that the way our lives work with free will, it's if, then, and when.
Yeah.
If X, Y, and Z happens, then ABC will happen when 1, 2, 3 happens. It's just everything works out, and it's all based on choices. And I would like to think that I've started making healthier choices for myself and for others. And I stand by that 2023 is the year that I made the decision. If I am not bringing out someone's inner joy, I don't need to be in their life. On the flip, if they are not bringing out my inner joy,
right,
they don't need to be in my life.
Right.
And long and short of it, I guess, long and short of it, it's gotten to the place where I feel secure in the knowledge that I've learned. And I don't really have any more questions that need answers.
Yeah.
I never felt like I had a void or a hole that needed to be filled. Yeah. And that feeling, people will go and watch my video and, or they'll go look at my TikToks. And then, I still stand by everything that I said in my TikToks, in my Instagram videos, everything like that. I stand by all of it, but I remember I said in a different episode prior to this, that even when I said, I never knew I needed this, I didn't know in that moment what I meant. I thought I knew what I meant, but looking back on it, I needed it so it could be let go.
Yeah.
My family can let it go. I can let it go. We can all move on.
Yeah.
They can let it go. They can know that, I'm happy, healthy, moving on with my life.
Yeah.
I'm an adoptee that is a bunch of other things at the same time, not just
Right.
an adoptee.
Right.
I have amazing parents that raised me. I like to think they did a good job. Sometimes they might question that, which is understandable.
If you're listening, mom, she loves you.
it's, I do. I really do. And I think it's something too, though, that it's almost in a way this has brought me closer with my parents. And I'm so thankful for that.
No, it's
I'm
true.
so thankful for that. I'm so thankful that, my mom and dad were able to see that, yes, it's cool that these other people are there. And yes, absolutely. We should always welcome love. And like nothing changes that. Nothing changes the fact that I'm so blessed to be adopted.
Right.
But it's kind of like when people say, you can't love it. I mean, we talked about this last episode where you can't love an adopted kid as much of a biological, or like you can't, and on the flip, you can't love your adopted parents as much as you could love your biological parents. What's really interesting is I would go to war for my parents
Yeah.
with anybody.
Right.
Like, and I've made that clear to several individuals.
Yeah. Yeah.
My line in the sand. I don't care who you are, my family. You come from my family. And my mom's so funny. She's like, we're adults. We can take care of ourselves. Like, we've got this. I've got this. And
To
like,
you, mom.
yeah. And then she'll be like, she's like, you really don't think I can stand up for myself? And like, she'll say it like in this sassy way. And just like, there's one time we had that conversation. She said in that sassy way. And I'm like, yeah, I believe you. I know you can. I know you can do that. I know dad can do that. However, no,
Yeah.
absolutely, you shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to do that. Like, my sister shouldn't have to do that. My brother in law shouldn't have to do that. Like, my family should not have to do that because other people want to say comments.
Right.
They have zero room to be saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm very thankful for the whole experience for the simple fact that I've learned some cool information.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I wish I could have done is go to my bio dad's grave. That's the only thing. That's the only thing.
Do you know where it is?
Not a clue.
Okay.
Not a clue.
Do you think you could like
I
find that online?
That's why a lot of people have been asking me. There's a couple different websites that people have talked about me looking at. My boss actually mentioned one. It's something like findagrave.com or something.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like I type in all the information that I know and nothing comes up. So,
Oh,
my conspiracy brain's like, oh my God, obviously he's in witness protection.
I love you.
He's hanging out with Tupac. Like
It's
that's what's
true.
like,
It's true.
but like
Too.
that is
No, I get it. I
like,
get it.
well, it's, I would never want anybody to like actually take a field trip through my brain because
So
they would be like, what the, like, what in the song lyrics over here and the movie scripts over here. And what was that random thought that just happened? Like, it's insane. But that's the only, if I had to say regret that I have,
that
that's
makes
the
sense.
only regret that I have is that I could not swallow it long enough. That sounds terrible. I could not deal with it long enough. I could not deal with, I could not, I was going to say swallow my pride, but it really wasn't a pride case.
I'm immature. Okay, I'm
Dude,
sorry.
I am too, and I'm trying to be an adult right now, and I can't do it.
Sorry, listeners. Anyway,
No, it's fine. No.
swallow her pride.
I couldn't. It's not even like a pride. Like it wasn't even so much like a pride thing. I guess it was a pride thing because it was like that's the only regret I have is that I just couldn't do it for long enough to find out where his grave is.
No.
I just couldn't. I could not. And that's not saying for anything outside of there, just like I said, there are just certain things that I just cannot do. And I always want to be respectful to his side, his family. I want to be respectful to my biological mother
Right.
and to my, biological siblings. But I stand by not everybody is meant to be in your life for your whole life. Sometimes people are just meant to be there for a season.
Yeah.
And that it's okay to not be okay and to set boundaries and to walk away.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to protect I say my spiritual health, my relationship with God, because in certain things where over the last 2 years, I've just had to sever a lot of relationships, not just with biologicals, but with just some other people too. I've had to walk away from certain people that I, again, had known for years, over a decade, 12 years, 15 years. I think if I'm being completely truthful, out of all of my friends in Alabama that I had, or people that I thought were friends or whatever, I think I talked to 4 of them, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
And that's not even on a regular basis. That's just me going out of my way to check in and see how they're doing. Because I still feel an obligation, not an obligation, I still feel a responsibility with them.
Right.
So for anyone that is listening, be mindful that sometimes you're not good for everybody and not everybody's good for you. Because you never want to say that, don't ever walk into the situation talking about how you're better than others or you're smarter than others or put others down. Because all that does is it's you're just trying to mask the trauma that you have and that the hurt you have. The only hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a really long drawn out way to say I just moved on.
Your face. Okay. I do have some questions for you. They're nothing too crazy.
Go ahead. That was really, really long. I am so like, I'm not going to apologize. I do not say I'm sorry. I'm not apologizing. But if you listen to that whole thing, you need to just go ahead and hit pause and go get yourself like a cookie or something because you definitely earned it. Okay, you can hit play again.
So, my first is just like a comment. I like how you were saying, okay, this for me, I feel this to the core. Some people don't understand why some people shouldn't be in your life, family or not, friends or not. But I love how you have found the way to protect, you said, your spiritual peace, mental peace, whatever you want to call it. You have to do that. So that's where I say props to you for doing that, because there's a lot of people that don't do it. And it's really, really damaging to your soul, to your heart, to everything. So it's hard, and it's hard as hell. I'm not disregarding that. So my question, which you're probably going to laugh at, this is like my main burning one. Do you blame adoption for all of this?
God, no. Like what?
Just because I feel like people like to blame, you know what I mean? But my thing is, and that's why I wanted to put this in there, because if you listen to this whole thing with DeLancey, you can hear the journey of her realizing and understanding. And is it sometimes maybe easier, people think, to just point and blame? It's not. And that's why I love how she's like, absolutely not. This has been a journey. It hasn't been an easy journey. And she's not sharing everything, nor should she have to. because
Yeah, because
it's
honestly, I really, if you want to get down to it, sorry to cut you off on that. You
no,
want to
you're
get
good.
down to it. I honestly don't owe anybody anything. I don't have
Yeah.
to share this
Correct.
side,
Exactly. That's
but
what I was just
I
gonna say.
felt like the only way to be authentically myself is to share this
Yeah.
because honestly, this wasn't just my journey. This was
Yeah.
my journey, my family's journey, and the others' journey. Like this has
Right.
been a journey for everybody, but not
Exactly.
everybody on this journey is going to keep walking down the same
Stay.
path together.
Mm-hmm. And I really,
Because,
really, really,
yeah,
really, 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 really hope the next time we do an update with you, you found your bio dad's grave. How cool would that be? That's what I'm gonna pray for.
that would be, I can honestly say, like, I think that's like the one thing that, like, that's like the one regret I have is, like I said, just
Get it?
that's it.
But
That's,
like the thing I love about this too, she is not like how she said that she's still grateful everything. I don't know that she said grateful, but she's still appreciative
no,
that everything still happened, even though it may
100%.
not have been like Corey talked about it. There's this honeymoon phase, and
Mhm.
unless you're adopted and you do reunite with your birth family, you don't know what that is. You have
Nope.
no clue what that is,
Nope.
none what that is. And just like any relationship, you learn about people, those kinds of things. And you know what I mean? Some are great, some are not. And I like how
Mhm.
DeLancey said, because it can even be not, but not when you find your birth family. There's people that stay in your life for a certain period of time, a season,
Mhm.
or
Yep.
forever, or for,
Yep.
and so yeah, I love that because people, it's really easy for people to just say, and this where like it makes me mad, like you know, when people say you can only be family if you're blood, or you can only love you like your own biological child.
So
Like
frustrating.
it's bullshit because
Yeah.
you can make family what you want to make family, and nobody can define that for you. I'm sorry, but they can't.
Hmm.
Like
They really can't.
it is what
Like
it is.
I had someone tell me one time, well, it's different when it's your flesh and blood. And I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, all right. And I just like, but it's with people like that look at it and people that put so much stock in biology. That's okay. Y'all can think like that. I
Right.
don't. I
Right.
don't think like that. Like I just don't. You don't think like that. Like we see that you can, like you said, you can create your family
It,
how is best needed
well, it
for
just
you.
makes me sad that people think it's only blood because you know how many relationships and people that you can like that you're missing out on in your life if you only think that
Yeah.
everything has to be blood.
Yeah.
Like there's friends and stuff, you know, that I mean that can be more family than family. It's just how it
Yeah.
is. Like
That's true.
God didn't
Well, I
intend for us
mean,
to one straight path. You know what I
well,
mean?
exactly. I mean, because you start your family when you get married, you start a family. That'd be weird if it was flesh and blood.
Yes, we're not the royals. I already said that before. No, we don't want to. No.
It's just weird. But I mean, like, it just, I don't know. I still, like, I stand by it. Like, I'm grateful. I'm grateful, appreciative, all that, all the cool things in the world and all the positive things around adoption. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Just because a bad day happens doesn't make it a bad life or a bad
no,
experience.
it's true.
None of that. It's all needed.
Yeah,
If your life is perfect
yeah.
every single day, you plateau. You don't learn anything.
So true.
You
So
just
true.
don't. You
No,
don't. If you,
boring AF is all I have to say. Ugh, do
yeah,
that.
thank
But
you. Thank you. Well, I mean, it just,
people
I
do.
just feel like, and it's so interesting to me because, this journey that I've been on, like I said, my parents have been on it with me and my sister and my brother-in-law. And, my other sisters and their husbands, my brothers-in-law there too. And, it's almost been like, I think it's opened up their eyes too to see certain things
Right.
because when you have two adoptees in a family and the no two adoptee journeys are the same. No one in the adoption triad has the same journey. No two people, human beings on the world have the same journey. It's just not
Correct.
possible.
Yeah.
We all, and it's not just because our paths are different. It's because we receive information differently.
Right.
We perceive it, we receive it, we learn, we develop all differently. We don't
Yeah.
all have the same timeline. That's just not how it works. And I think that my family finally realized that even though I am, if you don't see this, I'm doing air quotes, older and wiser. Like I guess I got smarter as I've gotten older, which is scary. Um, it's just I think they've seen like a certain maturity level. Like they would like I would say that I was more of a people pleaser, and they're like, no, you weren't. You did whatever you wanted. That is very true. I did do whatever I wanted. I did march to the beat of my own drummer. I did do the things that I wanted to do. End of story. However, I still did it within guidelines. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, say it's a 3-year-old is coloring a picture and it's a flower and they're making the petals green and the stem red. They're doing their own thing, but they're still coloring within the lines.
Right.
So they're still following the rules,
Right.
but in their own way of following the rules.
Exactly.
And I think my family realized that even though I mainly follow the rules just because I hate being in trouble. The terror of being in trouble is awful. I think my family finally realized like they their worry that I was missing out on something was their own worry. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes. No, that totally does. 100%. That
and I
totally
think
does.
they realized like, oh, wait, she was being serious when she said
Yeah.
that we're her family and that she's okay with everything.
Yeah.
I think that kind of threw them a little bit.
Yeah.
That
No, that makes
plus it's
sense.
just, I mean, and but my mom said it, she thought it was, I mean, we agreed it was important for me to understand where certain things come from because I
Right.
have, let's just, forgive me for what I'm about to say, but I do have a badass temper. I really do. Like it's not pleasant. It is not a pleasant thing when it gets to that level. It doesn't get to that level anymore, but when it did, it was not it, but it helps me to understand hearing stories about biological dad, biological mom, things like that when they were younger and what they were like. And it's like, oh,
Oh.
got it. Totally understand. As if I didn't think the Latina blood inside of me had played a part in that. I know, I'm aware, but learning certain things like that helped me understand myself and
Yeah.
help me overcome some of those things. Do
Yeah.
I still have a little bit of sass sometimes? Absolutely. That would not be me if I didn't. But like you said, I don't blame adoption. I don't blame adoption for anything that I've gone through or anything that I've experienced. I don't blame adoption for anything that they have gone through, anything that they've experienced. I think we have
Right.
all made our own choices in our lives. And sometimes it's best for all parties involved to say thank you so much. I appreciate everything you have done for me. Good luck with life and move on.
No, I love that. No, that's good. That's like seriously a good note to end that on. You like, woo, close that out really good. What was the other thing I wanted to ask you? There was another thing when you were talking.
Sorry, I'm like
No, no, it's totally
just
fine.
a chatty Kathy over here tonight. Just
Oh,
chatty.
it wasn't even really like it was just a comment on how you said that like it's okay if some adoptees out there don't want to know. Like that's totally fine. And I like how you said, what did you say exactly?
There's no telling.
Like
You don't remember what I said.
you you how did you say it? It was along the lines of like how you're like, I'm glad I did it, but I also would have been okay if I never would have
Oh, I
done
would
it.
have been completely fine if I'd never done it,
Yeah.
but I'm still
And I
thankful I
think,
did it.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's great because sometimes there is some pressure. Well, like you need to find out where you come from. You need to all this. And I like how you said, you know what? Yeah, maybe, but it's okay too. And it's okay if people
Yeah.
don't want to. Do not hound them. Do not force them.
That
Do
part.
not, you know what I mean?
That part.
Like let them decide.
And I'm going to add on to that. When somebody tells you that they don't want to talk about it anymore, stop talking about it.
Be done. Yes. Agreed.
Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, Shelby said it best. We don't owe you anything.
Yes. I love how she said that.
I do too. I loved it when she was like, I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you an answer.
Right.
And I feel like society, and I do it, I'm guilty of it. I'm a curious person. I ask all the questions, but I also respect it when somebody says, we're not talking about that. Okay, cool. Moving on.
Yeah.
If you're asking somebody within the adoption triad community and you're genuinely wanting to know, and they tell you that they're not comfortable talking to you about it, don't get flustered. Don't get frustrated. It's not your business, to be honest. If you're being honest about it, really, if you're being honest about anything, really nothing is your business that somebody doesn't voluntarily offer you.
I guess.
So if you ask a question and you get the answer, no matter what the question is, okay, let's say it this way. If you ask a question and then you're given the answer to the question, that doesn't mean keep asking the question.
Correct. Yeah.
Don't keep asking the question and asking in different ways and throwing a bunch of different words to try to get a different answer. Yeah. Just stop. Yeah. Because at that point, what that tells me and everybody else that you asked the question to, you weren't listening.
Nope.
You were listening to respond because your words to you are more important than what the other person is saying to you.
That's so true.
So don't do that. Just don't do that. Just take in what people say. It's okay. And just be supportive.
Yeah.
Be a Milena. Be a Milena. Milena has been so fantastic through this and like so respectful. And she told me, she was like, hey, listen, whenever you're ready, we're here. I'm here for you. If you need to talk this out further, I'm here for you. And like, she we said, we've had multiple conversations about this. Mm-hmm. And I keep telling her, I just don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. I know this is important for me to share my side, because even though I'm like happy, joyous, and free and so thankful and so blessed to be adopted, I am so beyond blessed to be adopted. Like, I don't think people understand how blessed I am. Like, so blessed. But that doesn't take away the fact that the last year I've had more times than not that I've been upset.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to hurt somebody else's feelings.
Exactly.
And I ended up hurting my own. Yeah. That needs to be taken into account. And it's just be mindful when you're talking to somebody within the community, any community.
Agreed.
Be kind to them, be nice to them. Because here's the thing, if you walk into it telling other people how wrong they are and you try to control the situation, or you tell them that you're smarter than them and you put them down and you start throwing out other things, and this is just for anybody, you walk into any situation with negative energy, that says more about you than it does the people around you, because you're the one bringing that negative energy.
Yeah, so true.
And I'm going to go ahead and give a quick little shout out. I already said thankful for Milena. I'm very thankful for my parents, very thankful for my sisters and their husbands. I'm very thankful, nieces and nephews. I'm also thankful for my best guy friend, Jimbo, who just recently got married not too long ago. He's been an amazing support system too through all of this.
I love that.
And get you a village.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, what you're going through, you need a village. You can't be by yourself.
Right.
And succeed in life.
Agreed. It's so true.
Let's keep going on these lovely little tangents, and at some point in time I'm going to end up like really crying on the air, and I don't want to do that because I keep like tearing up, and I'm like, I keep in my brain, I'm like, don't you dare cry.
Stop it. It's amazing. No, I think that has all been so good.
That was my watch. My watch was trying to, my watch literally said, I'm not sure I understand. Me either, Siri.
So funny.
Me either.
I don't even know if I should like, I feel like you've given so many words of wisdom and so much advice. Any last thing that you would like to say? And then we can close this out because I think it was beautifully done. I really do.
Oh God, this one's gonna be such a train wreck. Um, words of wisdom. Love him, meaning God, with all that you've got, and don't apologize for it. That's when my life really turned around. And that's when I really started making things started making sense for me. Was when I finally just said, all right, I'm not going to apologize anymore. And the only other thing I would say is stop talking about what people did 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years
Yes.
ago, two
Yes.
years ago.
Yes.
Nobody cares. If
Exactly. I
they've
love that.
evolved and they've grown, let them evolve and grow.
Yeah.
Oh, and one more thing. Don't leave cryptic emojis on people's comment sections. It's not cute.
No, it's not. I agree. I totally
It's
agree.
just it's just
Just weird.
it's just weird. It's honestly that's just weird. If you want to, I
Yes.
mean, GIFs make more sense if you want to get down to it. Like leave a
It's
GIF.
true.
That makes more
Yeah.
sense than leaving a cryptic emoji. Like nobody understands cryptic emojis. It's dumb.
No,
Like
no.
who does that? Not me. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so
Okay.
much for listening to this train wreck of an episode of me going
Stop.
around in circles and talking. I
No,
appreciate all of you.
it's been really, really good. And I love it because it has been an update that, like she said, we've discussed, but she's needed that space to deal if she's even wanted to
Mhm.
share it. Because she mentioned maybe, and I said just whenever. Because if she never did, that's okay too. That's her choice. So, and that's
Yep.
what people need to
Well,
respect
and
too.
in true DeLancey fashion, it's like, huh, here we go. Let's do this.
No, I love it. I love it so much. Okay. That's it. I loved this one. Um,
Train wreck.
no,
Such
it's
a
not. It
train
was
wreck.
actually really good because we like to focus on the positive a lot. And there's a lot of positives with this, but we're still human and there's still life. And that's what I like about this too. Like
Yeah.
there's still life. So anyway, all right. Okay. Thanks, guys. And like I said, we'll do another update again. And hopefully she'll have some
Yay.
really cool info next time. Okay.